First tonight, growing concerns over the remote monitoring of mental health patients in Essex. It's emerged the public inquiry into thousands of mental health deaths may make early recommendations after concerns were raised about the ongoing use of cameras and sensors to record inpatients without their consent. The chair of the Lampard Inquiry, which began more than 18 months ago, has also criticised the mental health trust EPUT. Let's find out the details from our reporter Stuart Woodward, who's in Chelmsford. Stuart.
Well, Baroness Lampard says that she wants to focus on two particular areas of concern when the inquiry resumes in July. Matters which she says require urgent attention and could lead to those interim recommendations being made for change before her report comes out in 2028. Now, those two areas of concern, one relates to the resuscitation of patients and the other relates to the use of monitoring systems in patients' bedrooms called Oxevision. Now, that is something which Essex Partnership University NHS Foundation Trust, or EPUT, has been found to be in breach of national guidelines by the Health Ombudsman following a complaint made by a former Essex inpatient.
Oxevision is used in half of England's NHS mental health trusts. Cameras and sensors can record footage, as well as detecting a patient's pulse or breathing rate, and alert staff on a tablet if there's an emergency. But critics say it's often being used without patients' consent. A former patient, known as Miss B, told me she asked staff to turn the system off, but her request was denied.
It was distressing. It was frightening. It was like that feeling of constantly being watched, like never being alone, but also no one's there. I'd never felt distrustful of people before, and this Oxevision was really triggering that for me. I was the most unwell I'd ever been, and Oxevision played a huge part in that.
Miss B's complaint has been partly upheld by the Parliamentary and Health Service Ombudsman, which said EPUT failed to seek Miss B's consent and that their lack of transparency exacerbated her anxiety and undermined her trust.
It's CCTV, it's surveillance, and that's not safety. The thing that keeps patients safe is staff time and patience and compassion, and staff working with patients to understand why they're distressed in the first place and work on reducing the emergencies in the first place, rather than installing technology as a kind of quick fix without addressing the real issues.
EPUT has apologised to Miss B and says it's already making changes to its consent policies, but the continued use of Oxevision will now come under greater scrutiny when the Lampard Inquiry resumes.
Now, these interim recommendations are something which bereaved families have been calling for throughout this process. They want to ensure that there are no more preventable deaths. I've been speaking to a legal representative who represents more than 120 bereaved families who've say that they are relieved that this is something which is being considered. Now, just to elaborate slightly more on that criticism of EPUT from the inquiry chair, not for the first time as well. We know that the inquiry's had to use its legal powers to compel EPUT to provide evidence to the inquiry in the past, and we heard today Baroness Lampard refer to the ongoing concern, shall we say, about EPUT's level of engagement with the legal process. Now, EPUT's chief executive, Paul Scott, has repeated his apology to bereaved families today. He's also said that the challenge of providing information from a 24-year period was a complex one, but he did say that they remain committed to doing everything they can to support the inquiry. Susie.
Stuart, thank you.